or this function right after my MBA, and then I sort of never left it. It's a very interesting department to be. It's a very interesting tenant of an organization, and I say this with a lot of confidence after sort of experiencing a lot of this department. I think it's what makes it so interesting and what makes it stand apart is because it deals with one of the most important yet a very complex stakeholder, and that is the employee. Human beings, unlike machinery, unlike money, are unpredictable, and to sort of deal with them, to make sure that you're taking your company in the right direction, you're creating a culture which is enabling, which is taking the company to the next level of profitability, and creating the kind of brand you want to create for yourself in the market. Is I think all of that is something this human resource as a resource can do for us. And here am I, being a part of this journey for about 14 years and loving every bit of it.
Great.
Yeah, that's really about me.
Okay. Great, Ambica. So, Ambica, we'd also want to know, I understand that you might not have had a career break, but we'd love to hear about a couple of, career challenges that you faced as a woman and, sort of how you overcame them. To just give an idea to everyone here.
Sure. So, Soumya, honestly, and everyone there, honestly, I have not had too many challenges to deal with while I sort of took my career journey. And this is one of the reasons why, because I had a more supportive family. And when I say family, obviously my husband, my in-laws, I think they were most supportive of me having a career. I also don't have a child. That's also sort of did not got me to a logical break. But what I have experienced very closely, very firsthand, is to work with a lot of women who are either single parents, who are have joined back after a career break, seeking opportunities after a career break. I have friends who have very very challenging jobs and who are constantly trying to find a job for themselves which gives them a flexibility to raise their child and give him or her the kind of love and care they deserve, and not really cutting down or cutting themselves short on their career, or just taking a step down. And I think I think this first-hand experience to deal with women for such challenges, and most of them in a very close emotional quarters with me, have given me a better insight and a better understanding of what are the challenges one can go through, and what are the various ways one can work around, so not really having this as a constraint, but using this as what do I say, as leveraging this as one of the tool you have, or one of the realities you have in your life, and just learning to deal with this better.
Sounds interesting. I mean, that's a completely different perspective we're getting there, Rambika, and we're glad to have that the other side of the story too. So I'll open up the forum so you can unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can also drop in your question in the chat window. So yeah, get started. Okay, while we are also waiting for people to start asking, I think Soumya has a question. Soumya, you've unmuted yourself.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Ambika. I'm Soumya TV. I have about 13 years of experience into software testing, and I was working as a QA manager in Genpact. I took a break since my mother underwent a spinal surgery. I just wanted to understand, yeah, I understand that you have not taken a career break, but you have seen many people who have taken a career break. The challenges that we may face when taking a career break, and what are the steps or reforms that we need to take to overcome them? That is my first question. And my second question would be like, what is the approach we need to um, take to apply for companies? What is the first step we need to take?
Thank you for your question, Soumya. And I know this is one of the very practical and one of the very real situations anyone can go through. Yeah, I think step number one, when you have a situation like that, when you need to take a career break to care for someone at home, I would advise and some people to be extremely transparent in this. Yeah, most of the people we deal with in the organizations are also human beings, and they do have families and people they have to care for back home. So I think transparency is number one. Yeah, I mean, I do not, I very strongly feel that one should not view this break as a step down or a journey, and you have to be embarrassed about it, or sort of not open about it. I think you should go out there and tell people very proudly as to why did you take a break. And I think most of 8 out of 10 people will respect you, so sort of respecting and knowing your priorities well. Secondly, how to go about it, I think as you go about any job, just update your resume. Yeah, put your skills up there and say what your skill sets are and what you're able to bring to the table, and just start applying. And this is as simple as that. And when you come across on a question, I mean, at the first round is usually with the HR team or the hiring manager. Be very confident about what you've done, what your achievements have been, highlighting those. Plus, be equally confident about just saying that you had to take a break for reasons you have to. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Soumya. We'll just wait for the second question. Ambica, while we're waiting, another question that we had actually got in one of our offline chats on Facebook was, what's the average raise in salary I can ask the employer when I'm restarting my career after a break?
Yeah.
I think at the end of, like, the crux of this question is to understand: do I go back in the salary that I lost through, or do I need to cut down? Do I need to scale down, or how do we
Yeah,
approach the
yeah.
how do we negotiate?
It's a very interesting question, Soumya, and I think most of the people who take a career break or look for a flexibility in their careers deal with this question daily basis. Yeah, my thought is simple. Yeah, when you take a career break, that means you stop working, and if then you stop working, that means your skill set you have it sort of stays where it is. So it's not fair to sort of go there and expect a 30% or 40% hike, which you typically will if you're in a active career, because you're not constantly upskilling yourself. But what you should do is adjust yourself for an inflationary increase. So if you've been not working for a year or not working for 2 years, make sure you adjust your salary to the inflationary increase. And what happens is that you're not worse off. A 10 lakh rupee, what could do for you 2 years before, cannot do for you now. So make sure your salary is adjusted for an inflationary increase, and say what, and be confident for asking that raise and explaining them why you're saying what you're saying. But be cognizant of the fact that the skill set or the experience have not really taken up because you have to take break for the various reasons. And you're acknowledging this fact and going there and asking for something which is very fair.
Yeah, I think I think that's a valid, and I think it's also a very case to case kind of issue, right? I mean, it also depends on the kind of
Yeah.
break you've taken, and and if you have acquired skills during your break, and yeah. So, um, anybody else asking a question? You could unmute yourself and ask the question, or type it in the chat window. It's 11 hours. Are we having any other questions? Or okay, some of them are complaining that the audio is not audible. If the audio is not audible, could you just type in "we can't hear" so that we try to work on that? Can you all hear us?
Uh, Okay, while we are waiting, I have one more question. Um, how is the job scenario right now with respect to the software? Uh, okay, take it specifically testing because of the demonetization now that has happened. How is the recruitment and all going on? Has it is it an IT recession or is it an IT boom or is it average?
So, Soumya, I think the demonetization, we still have to see the direct impact of demonetization on the job market right now. Yeah, we do not have any evidence as of today which says that it's really impacted the job market. According to the last quarter report, the job market in India is steady and is growing. There are more and more jobs getting created actually in the manufacturing setup too because of this whole made in India sort of a thing. And a lot of startups are around too. A lot of startups are technological based. So I still view this as one of the golden periods of people who are looking there for jobs because they are enough for everyone. And people and recruiters are hiring across industries.
Okay, I think we've got one more question in our chat window, which says, "Is it okay to discuss about work-life balance and flexibility during an interview?"
I think it's a must. It's not okay. I think it's a must. And if it's a situation, you're going to be dealing with it every day. I think at the time of interview, you should be very clear. And I also suggest it's not the first interview. Yeah, because the first interview is where you're really getting assessed for a fitment in the your skill set, the fitment to the entire organization. The second, once you clear the first layer of interview, go to the second layer when you know the people, it's getting interesting for you and as well as the organization. I think then you should just be very clear about what your boundaries condition would be and how would you like this working situation to be, unless it's very unusual, unless you're looking for a 4 hours or a 5 hours in a day, and in that case those jobs which have a flexibility like that, upfront advertised or upfront communicated, one should apply for only those jobs. But if you have an expectation which is not really very extraordinary, I think this should happen. This communication should happen while at the time of interviews, but not usually a first interview because you may just want to in some cases put off a recruiter saying, I'm already hearing a lot of things which I can do, which I cannot do. So let's see whether it goes to the next stage or not. But when you go to the next stage, then it's getting warmer, it's getting hotter, and then it's good to open your cards there.
Great. I think Neelima Goyal has asked a question in the chat window. She says, "How about HR openings? Are HR jobs available?" And again, another very often asked question to us at Jobs for Her is, everybody wants to get into HR, right? Irrespective of what industry they've been in, everybody wants to get into HR because they think that would perhaps be the most smoothest transition that they can take in terms of getting back into a career after a break. So we'd love
Yeah.
to hear your inputs on that and about HR as an opportunity in the market.
So, are there any openings in HR? Yes, I think there's enough and more openings in HR. When there's opening in the market, there are openings in the HR space too, because this department really sort of help people transitioning in the organization. Yeah, so there are definitely openings in HR in various organizations, various industries across various cities at all levels. Um, should this be your first choice once you sort of come in after your break? It really depends because it's just not it's not really that easy to transition in this job. And I'm again talking with experience here because this job or this role or this department has few expectation. It is extremely sensitive as a department. As I told you, we deal with one of the most complex stakeholder, and that is the team members. There are various things attached to it. Unless one the operation side of HR, which is, which becomes a little regular, mundane, and routine, then yes, it's an easy job to do. But so is administration. So is, jobs in the outsourcing industry. But just make sure that you work for this HR as a role when you really have or you really want to do something about it?
Hi, Ambika. This is Sweta.
Hi, Shweta.
Yes, Ambika, my question is regarding a second innings with a leadership role. So, in a nutshell, basically, I took a career break almost 8 years back. And the reason was, of course, to raise my child, And the thing was, I was working about 16 to 19 hours a day with extensive travel, and I was basically a product manager leading teams and technical teams in the internet space. And my biggest challenge, now that my calendar is freed up and I can commit my time partially, not completely, to keep the momentum going as far as being a pure parent is concerned. My biggest challenge is that, the nature of my job was such that it's not something that, I could. So I was obviously, owning products and planning the roadmaps and sort of was responsible to deliver those products and lead those teams right from envisioning to execution. Now, I'm not able to find anything that will fit with my new schedule or my new bandwidth, given that kind of a role. So, and it's a niche. It was kind of a niche job. So that's my struggle, and often I have explored ideas and everything, but nothing has really converged to something that I could be excited about and get a flexible option as well.
Shweta, I think it's a fantastic question and a very relevant question for a lot of women out there, because I think it's also that your career span is in direct conflict with your biological cycle, as Indra Nooyi said.
Exactly, like Indra Nooyi says, yes.
Yeah, and I think this is it's a very relevant problem for most of the women out there, Ambika, also because I think at some level, with about 7 to 8 years of experience, it's not really for most of us. It's not really a skill based, role that we are getting into. It is like
exactly.
It is like a leadership role that most of the women are looking to get into. So how do we sort of break the barrier here?
So I will be honest, yeah. The honesty of the truth is that, Shweta, that maybe in traditional industries, yeah, maybe in the industries you worked with before, maybe in the industries you want to work with now, they may not offer you a leadership role. And they would sort of take back and say, listen, 8 years is a big gap and the world has moved on, the skills have moved on. But more and more the new industry types, and I'm going to give you the example of my industry and the other startups which are opening all over. We actually look these new industry types look for people like yourself, yeah, which comes with this fresh mindset, which have people like yourself are not now stereotyped or typecasted in the industry. You obviously have a work experience and you know what it takes to sort of commit yourself and do what it's expected to do in your organization. But my advice to you is start exploring the other industry types which are not the startups. Yeah, I think we are in such a beautiful time right now wherein a lot of these new companies are mushrooming up. They're mushrooming up in all metros all around the country. Yeah, and they are looking for people like you, who can sort of understand their ambiguity and the flexibilities they need from you. And if they expect this from you, they're happy to give that to you in return too. Yeah, and because these are teams are much smaller teams, they're not structured, larger organizations. Chances are that even with a 7 to 8 and 10 years of experience, one tends to play a very senior role in this organization. Obviously, time will still have to prove, and it does have its sets of risk. Not every startup really sees the light of the day. There's always a crash crunch, but there are enough and more success stories. And I think these industries need people like yourself to be their game changers and not sort of stick ourselves to the ideas of the companies we've worked with before or like to work with companies you want to work for.
Okay, and which industry are you referring to, if I may ask?
So Shweta, I'm actually talking about, by and large, I'm talking about all these startups which are opening up in India this right now.
You mean
Yeah.
like the app companies and the technology companies
The app
stuff?
companies and technology companies are one. Yeah, there are
Yeah.
also companies in e-com space. Yeah, which are
Mm-hmm.
looking for a lot of online shopping places which are looking for a smart product manager to curate their products. Yeah, or
Right.
to sort of get the product high. I'm talking about the company like ourselves. Now, we right now, we are small. We started growing there, but we need mature, sensitive people. I'm not going to say a woman or a man. I'm going to say people who sort of
With good ideas.
understand,
Yeah.
yeah, which understand the dynamics of senior care. I mean, no one in this country knows about what it entails to care for a senior. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
often as a human capital person, I find it difficult to hire people who obviously have a relevant skill set because it's a different game altogether. Yeah. So
Right.
those are your industries. Obviously, one has to do a little bit of search depending on which city you are in, etc., and what kind of companies and options you have. But these companies in this space are a very interesting option for anyone who wants to restart their career.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Shweta.
All right, I think Mega had a question. I think we can just take one more question before we close the session. And Nilima has also sent in a chat message that says, I've been working as a HR generalist for 7 years. How should I start as a restarter?
Should I take Nilima's questions first?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So Nilima, I think one has to start from the beginning, right? Just do what is expected, update your resume, talk about what your achievements have been, what kind of organizations you've worked for. Yeah. And put out there as to how can you sort of, why one should hire you. There are companies like you, honestly, Nilima, who are looking for people like you there. And I think HR and human capital is one such field where, okay, career breaks are not really the showstopper. And I think why? Because again, it's a very gender stereotype. A lot of women work in an HR space, and we all understand each other saying that, you need to get married or care for someone at home, or will sort of have babies which you need to raise. Start from the beginning, just update your resume, put up your skills out there, and start looking for and talking to people who have HR openings. And there are enough HR openings right now in the country.
All right.
I
And
hope I answered the question. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, she says thanks a lot to you. Um, One last question. I'm going to
You
take,
said Megha had a question. I didn't see Megha on the chat. Or
yeah,
is she?
I think she had a connectivity issue. She's not showing up now. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm just going to, if there are no other questions coming, I think we have one question that our ambassador was asking at Drops for her, which I want to put forward here. She says, since last 7, 8 months, I'm looking for a job and I'm not getting any offers due to my break of 1.5 years. And I've been applying in multiple portals, and she's into software testing. So, what would be your message to her, Ambika, if she had to? Is there a different strategy she needs to look at, or uh, how should she be going about? I mean, is there some kind of like a schedule that she needs to, deadlines that she needs to work on? What would
Yeah.
be your advice?
Yeah. I think if the regular portals are not working, one has to go through the ways of referral. And I think the IT industry is one of the industry which is strongest in the way of referrals. I mean, they encourage team members to refer each other, and there's a whole lot of rewards going on there. And the way I understand the IT industry, they usually hire from their own portals. They have their very swanky hiring module on their website, and people sort of apply there directly, or they work a very strong referral. I would strongly urge her to sort of connect back with their friends and colleagues in the industry, in the place where she wants to work. As she was working before, and people have gone out and start sharing the resumes, her resume with them. If the regular route of portals are not really working, that means they're not working. Yeah, that means people are picking up that 1.5 years break and sort of judging the resume without even giving a fair chance. And in this case, I think one needs to change the strategy a little bit and go through reference, which really helps.
Yeah, and I think we've come to a point where there are a lot of companies that are coming forward with their hiring women back policies. So
Yeah.
I think that it'll be a good idea to focus on those companies to start with. Great. So, Amika, it's been wonderful having you here, and we look forward to meeting you at our mentoring roadshow. And for those of you who are in Gurgaon, you can meet Ambika and talk about your career goals and your career strategy after a break in Gurgaon in Made in Punjab. I'm sharing a link here to register for the event. Thank you once again, Ambika. It's been lovely interacting with you.
Thank you, Soumya, and thank you, everyone. It's been lovely talking to everyone. And good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.